How's it going, everybody? Today we got most painful construction deaths ever. Now, I know last video we literally did the most painful prison deaths ever, but you guys seem to like that video, so I figured why not do another one. If you guys do enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below of any questions you guys have for me for the upcoming Q&A. And as always, let's get started.
Watch your step. Across the
And if I'm gonna say this really quickly, the top left corner kind of just shows the ranking of how bad the death is gonna be for them. So that's just kind of letting you guys know if you guys are curious.
United States are large industrial iron foundries that use molten iron to produce things like engine blocks, frames, and structural components for cars and buildings.
That's great.
At the Caterpillar Mapleton foundry in Illinois, molten
What is this? Like a gremlin working at a factory? What?
iron is melted.
Why does it look like that?
2,600 degrees Fahrenheit, a heat hotter than lava and hot enough to obliterate human flesh in an instant. For the workers at this factory, the foundry floor is a place where one wrong step means certain doom. So it's of utmost importance that each crew member moves with caution 100% of the time. On June 2nd, a 39-year-old man would be working his 5th day at his new job. He was tasked with retrieving a sample of molten iron for testing.
You should never have someone that new be working a thing that everyone else does. And even if that's the case, have someone go with them, or have someone, like, you know, step by step. Here's what to do. Here's what to do. You know, be careful. Watch your step. All that kind of stuff.
He spun down a giant metal wheel that caused the molten iron to pour out of the vat. Afterwards, he leaned over the boiling hot iron. He got close, like really close. And then liquid molten iron popped and exploded all over his face. I'm kidding. He successfully retrieved his sample of iron and returned back to his manager. Unluckily, however, he'd somehow slip on the stage and partially fall back into the molten vat of iron. He tried to escape, but it was impossible. Half of his body was in, half of it was out.
Oh,
and before
Jesus.
you know it, in an instant, he was consumed by the roaring orange abyss. Witnesses described what happened as beyond comprehension. He passed away instantly, but not all of him was consumed. Part of his body
How is this?
remained on the steel.
Really? The Gojo picture? That's crazy. How is this the first one? This is like awful. I mean, it's probably because he was like instantaneously killed. Like he didn't have any like feeling of pain for like a second. Probably like a couple seconds, but still, they died almost instantly.
Deck for the coroner to retrieve. Emergency crews rushed in, but it was already way too late. There was no saving him. The foundry quickly shut down, investigations were launched, and then questions arose. How could a man with so little training be placed so close to one of the most dangerous areas of the factory? It was literally his 5th day on the job.
Oh, 9th day? I mean, I feel like you don't really tend to start your job fully until like the 2nd week. Because I know like when I started my job, I had like weeks of training for certain positions. And then for like the 2nd week after I was, well, I mean, it was a while. So like the whole time while I was working, I would work a certain position and it was trained for that specific position. So I didn't need like training or anything for that one, but I still needed help with other positions. So wasn't actually trained for everything. Probably like the first couple of months because I had the same position for so many times, and the positions that I wasn't trained at were a little bit more rare to come by.
For his colleagues, it was not the first time they'd seen such horror. Just a year earlier, another worker had passed away at the same plant after a similar fall.
How did they not get shut down after that? I mean, they said that they got it shut down and investigations happened, but how does it not happen the first time? Or they, oh, it's fine. It happens again. We'll have to shut down. Like, no, someone literally died. If someone died, you're getting shut down.
And now,
if someone gets injured, I think it's like a warning or something like that.
Yet again, a worker's life had been cut short in the most violent way.
2022? What? I thought it was gonna be like 19, like before the 2000s. That's insane. Wait, this one says 2,000 degrees. This one says 2,600. Is this the same guy? Steven, yeah, this is the same guy. They just lied on this one, or they lied on this one. I don't know, but still.
Imaginable. In fact,
probably ABC. Probably New York. I don't know. I don't really care that much.
Factories like these Safety isn't just a guideline, it's survival. When molten metal waits beneath your feet, there's no second chance. One misstep and you're gone in an instant.
Yeah, you gotta to avoid that situation. He needs to have someone like a manager or a supervisor be there with him the entire time so that he can get a step-by-step plan.
The cable incident. It was
God.
just after noon at the Whitworth sawmill in East Texas. The air was thick with the grind of machines, the smell of fresh-cut pine, and the heat of men working hard to keep the mill alive. But inside, 4 men were locked in a struggle with a jammed wood chip machine. To free it, they turned to the heavy steel cable that wound its way around the gears. They pulled, adjusted, and worked the line, hoping to break the machine loose. And then, in an instant, disaster struck. After working the cable for what felt like forever, they had stretched it out to the point that it extended itself like a bow and tightened back on one of the men.
Oh, shoot.
Upon pulling the cable and stretching it back out again to free the man, it finally snapped. The stored energy released with the speed of a bullet and the force of a guillotine. It whipped across the work area with deadly precision, striking all 5 men at once. The impact was catastrophic. 4 of the 5 were decapitated instantly. The 5th man got lucky. He was thrown away to the side and the bones in his leg got shattered, but thankfully his life was spared. For the men who witnessed it, the scene was indescribable. One moment, their co-workers were fighting with some stupid jammed machine. The next second, the floor was silent and each of their bodies stood up.
That's what's crazy about like just life in general. It's kind of a side tangent, but like life can be so like simple and peaceful and pretty much just happy at one point. There's some frustration, and then it can just change everything, and lives are taken. It's crazy how fast things can turn, especially with situations like this that just shock me so much.
Right in their same positions with a crucial detail missing. The ground was littered with helmets, sawdust, and bodies. When EMTs...
Because that's in 1963? That makes sense of why it wasn't really talked about.
Arrived at the scene.
Because I feel like if it was talked about nowadays, everyone would be like terrified and never go near like the lumber yard.
Only able to save the man with the injured leg. The sleeve incident. In a cavernous factory in Russia, cameras were quietly watching a scene that would later horrify the world. On the floor stood a massive horizontal lathe. The machine was giant, and its steel cylinder was rotating with an unstoppable force. It was a machine built to carve through metal itself. A Russian man tasked with running the machinery
Cup of Joe Bartolozzi. That's funny.
Upon seeing it, for a couple of moments, he would just squint deeply at the machine, closely inspecting it. His posture was casual, and then from casual, it grew curious. Although it's not entirely clear what it was, the man noticed something wrong with the
Joe did actually react to this, so I wonder what his opinion was on it.
Machine, but after inspecting it, he went about his business. And then he came back because his curiosity got the best of him. Something was obviously wrong with the machine, so he went in for another look. It was then that he realized that he had been inspecting the wrong thing all along. His gaze shifted from the machine to the ceiling above it, and he was astonished with what he saw. He was right. There was a bit of a leak dripping down from the ceiling onto the machine. A sigh of relief came from the man as he became relieved that he had figured out the issue. As he began leaving to retrieve items to fix the leak, he'd quickly realize another, more concerning issue. His sleeve was stuck. And just like that, in a heartbeat, everything changed. The man was yanked into the spinning machine. His body slammed between the cylinder and the base, whipping around with such force that he looked like a rag doll in the grip of a hurricane. The lathe spun faster and faster. First his shoes would fly off, then pieces of his flesh, then chunks, then his limbs. And before you knew it, he was turned into a mist. The camera captured it all. There was no time for rescue.
Wait, this is on camera?
Or hope of survival. Moments later, another worker in full protective gear entered from the side. He froze at the sight he saw. Red trails, shredded remains, and a stained room. He lifted his hands in complete frustration, then dropped them in despair. The unfiltered camera footage spread across the internet, shocking millions before being digitally wiped away. Safety experts pointed out the obvious in this case. Don't wear loose clothing around machines like these, and always keep a safe distance between them. The roller incident. It was just after noon at a factory in the Saint Laurent borough of Montreal. The facility specialized in recycling.
I was gonna say that like the third one wouldn't be as bad as like the second or first one, mainly because like he was just whipped around, but he was also killed like insanely painfully. But that's not as bad as like the wire. But if you really think about it, like the first and second one, they almost like instantly died. Like they felt like barely any pain. Like they just completely died. But the third one, he was like slowly swung around, arms flying off. Oh God, I can't imagine that.
Cycling plastic. Massive machines churned endlessly, crushing and shaping materials with unstoppable force.
Oh God.
For
Someone's gonna
workers,
get trapped
the
in
rhythm
there.
of the rollers was just another part of the day. Clock in, crush and churn, go to sleep, repeat. Except for this day.
Someone's gonna
On
be
August
stupid
8th,
and just
2016,
try and grab something
at
that's
around
like stuck.
12:15 p.m., a 56-year-old employee noticed a piece of plastic jammed in the roller machine.
I freaking knew it, dude.
Determined to keep the line and
I
the
knew
rhythm.
someone was gonna be stupid, but like, oh, something's stuck on in the machine. You know, what do I do? Do I turn off the machine, call someone, and pull it out? Nah, I'm better than that. I'll pull it out while it's on.
So freaking stupid.
Of his job moving, he climbed up a ladder and reached in to pull it free. As you could guess, while trying to perform this extremely dangerous task, the rollers would pinch his finger. He'd scream in pain and try to yank it out, but in a split second, his hand was caught and effectively crushed. Unfortunately, that wouldn't even be the worst part. The rollers dragged him in, pulling his body into the unforgiving gear-crushing machines. First his hand was sucked in, then his arm, then his head, and then his chest. His torso became wedged into the entry space of 12 centimeters before co-workers rushed to stop the machine. But by the time it halted, his body sat deeply jammed in between a space no bigger than a clenched fist. Insanely enough, however, he was actually pulled out of the machine alive. Despite
Yes,
his
I
body
just looked
being
at
crushed
at
and
my
broken
face,
beyond
whatever.
repair, emergency responders
he was still
rushed into
alive?
the hospital in critical condition, but there really wasn't much doctors could do. The man was literally flattened, so sadly, he succumbed to his injuries shortly after. Behind every phone, car, or laptop you use, there is a person. A person who spends anywhere from 8 to 16 hours a day working tirelessly in a factory full of dangerous equipment to grant you these luxuries you have. Life is delicate and quick. It can be here 1 second and gone the next. So, no matter how small, always be grateful for the good you have. Don't take any of it for granted. Tell your parents, siblings, and friends you love them. And as usual, have a happy day.
That's pretty crazy, but you know, if you guys did enjoy that video, I know it was a little dark and pretty graphic. But if you guys did enjoy, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below if you guys want to see any videos more like this, as well as questions for a Q&A coming up. And as always, have a good one.